Hi, it's your girl Kelly Jamaican here with yet another video for you. And today you might notice something a little different. If you notice it, leave a comment in the comment section. Today I wanted to talk about what I believe is the Black Widow system of child support. And I believe it's a Black Widow system simply because even though both men and women do end up on child support, it is mostly the men that actually feel the horrific pinch of child support. Now, you might be wondering, what grouse do you have with child support? I mean, and you're a woman, so why are you even fighting against your own cause? Well, I'm raising a son. I'm raising a boy and I'm raising a girl. And I honestly believe that the same way we look out for our women in society, we should also be looking out for our men or boys or sons. So I wanted to speak on this issue because so many people are ending up in jail because of missed child support. I don't think jail should ever be the conclusion of missed child support. Some states have actually figured it out that this is counterproductive to have men or women in jail, because they've missed child support. Because of the obvious reason, if you're in jail, how can you look for a job or earn money to pay your child support? I honestly get the fact that a lot of men out there are deadbeat dads and a lot of moms out there are deadbeat moms. Yes, there are deadbeat moms. And in order to hold them accountable, sometimes you just have to go through the legal system. Of course, in a perfect world, you would think that men and women can sit down and work out the nitty-gritty of caring for their child financially after a divorce or after some type of separation. But Earth can be a dystopic place with broken systems and broken souls, and as a result, we end up with situations that can be volatile, too volatile to even have both people talking about something as sensitive as child support. I get where the legal system comes in, but for me personally, I know this sounds crazy. Before I even go through the legal system, I would just rather do without. I'm with like Russell Wilson. I'm just not going to put myself through the stress of begging someone or forcing someone to pay or support their kid. If you and I can't work it out as adults, these are my kids, these are your kids, we can't work it out where you and I contribute financially to our children, then I must say that's just where it ends for me. I'm just not the type of person to run down some coins from an unwilling party. When Russell Wilson said it, I was like, yeah, brother, I feel you. I really do. But that being said, I just wanted to touch on some points that I believe are the reasons we have a system that is a Black Widow system. And of course, if you know what the Black Widow spider does, after she's impregnated with his sperm, she kills him. Dadsdivorce.com cites 5 reasons why the child support system today is a bit broken. And this was a really good article. You guys can actually click on the link in my description. According to the article, the system creates debtor's prison. As the name indicates, you have a lot of people that are in debt, so much so that it is a prison. And we know debt is really a type of enslavement. If you haven't figured that out yet, then a lot of us here in America are in debt and are enslaved to our debt. Of course, if you end up falling behind on your child support, it just keeps accumulating. The fact is, like any bill, sometimes you do fall behind. When you create more debt, people are just going to have that as another way of being disenfranchised. That's just really a tragic repercussion of it, to be so in debt because of child support that you can't even really ever see your way back out of that. Another thing that dadsdivorce.com cites is the system financially destroys the support system of parents who can't pay. Most of us are thinking that child support is mostly to go after or target dads that refuse to pay their child support, but it's not always. A lot of times the men and women, they separate, and the first thing the woman does just to secure herself is to put the man on child support. This is not an indication that the man would never ever pay child support. It's just to guarantee her security. The woman automatically puts the man on child support, whether or not he's in the position to pay child support. Of course, this is just going to immediately exert the man's financial resources despite his circumstances. Now, if you are well off, this won't be a challenge for you. You'll just be able to pay it no problem, and no matter what the court decides, you'll probably just go ahead and agree with it. If you're an average person out here working minimum wage, firstly, once you separate, you have to kind of stabilize yourself with a new home. You have to pay your own bills, your separate bills, things like that. That's already going to be a strain on your income. But then in addition to that, you have to pay child support. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that men should not be financially obligated to their kids. What I am saying is the child support system unfortunately does not allow that flexibility for times when people fall on hard times, or for people that are low income. It doesn't provide that flexibility for them to actually go through these periods and rebound from these periods. When they actually fall into a slum, that's when the child support system devours them the most, because they still have to pay what's financially due, but they can't, and they just end up being legally penalized as a result. So that is my take on it. So when you think about a person divorcing, separating, having to financially stabilize themselves, and then having to pay a specific amount ordered by the court, whether or not they can afford it, then we have even further problems. And I just want to give you a personal situation that I know of, where that actually happened. The couple separated. The woman placed the man on child support. The guy, he moved to a different state and he procured 2 jobs. It didn't matter. He was just on a hamster wheel trying to pay the child support, and it didn't matter. He was just not able to pay his child support and to take care of himself. So he ended up losing his home. He ended up living on the streets, but he was still working, believe it or not, but he was just sleeping on the streets. It does destabilize people's finances, and this is a fact. A lot of people can actually tell you that they've gone homeless trying to pay child support and take care of themselves at the same time. And the reason is having a high set amount to pay every month, like the percentage of what you have to pay, that there's no flexibility with it. You can't really get that lowered unless, of course, you file a motion or some type of petition to get it lowered, which is actually good. But what they normally do is probably work out like a long-term payment plan for you, or reduce it, yes. But in the case of a situation where you absolutely can't pay it, then does this even work in your favor? Does filing a motion, does it work in your favor? The system also overemphasizes financial contributions while underscoring other types of support. And I totally agree with that. What if the man is unable to pay the required amount of child support, but he's able to assist in other ways? It doesn't always have to be financially. It's just making sure that in areas where she is unable to take care of the child, he comes in, he participates. Things like babysitting outside of allotted visitation time, making sure that the kids get to events, and these other ways are just as important as financial support. So I feel as if you're able to support in other ways, this should also count or go towards child support. I feel as if because there's such an overemphasis on the financial aspect of child support, that this allows a lot of people to take advantage of the child support system. And this is where I'm getting to when I say it's a black widow system. A lot of women know that they have this as an advantage over the man. So it doesn't matter if the man is a deadbeat dad or a good dad, as long as they're able to ensure that they can make that man financially obligated to paying a set amount per month to their to support the child. That is all they need to know in order to abuse the system. And I think that the court system need to look into this as a problem. This leads to things like paternity fraud. What is paternity fraud? Things like having the man sign the birth certificate even though the woman knows that the child does not belong to the man, forcing the man to pay child support. Then the man now, once he figures out that the child doesn't belong to him, have to go through a whole legal process of rebutting the paternity and getting himself off child support. In my view, this is the definition of a black widow system. We do know that there are some people out there that were in abusive relationships, need to establish court orders against their ex-spouse in order not to have a personal interaction with them to ensure their safety and to avoid any domestic situation. I'm not talking about those circumstances. I'm talking about the circumstances where we know that women are deliberately taking advantage of the child support system. That's what I'm talking about. And this happens a lot in America. You know, I've even heard of cases, and I don't know how true these cases are, where the person, they're pregnant, and even though they are aware that the man doesn't necessarily want the kid, which a lot of people argue, well, don't have unprotected sex. That is true. But, you know, of course, these are some other rights that men don't have. Men really don't have the right to tell a woman whether to go through with a pregnancy or not. I've heard of cases where women are pregnant and actually put the man on child support, which you can. You know, in circumstances like that, you still have to be able to prove that the man is the father. Well, I guess if you're able to prove it, you can start putting the man on child support. Not in all cases, but it's kind of obvious that the child becomes the cash cow. This is the bottom line of the problem. Kids being used as financial security. I know that I am highlighting the things that men go through, but women go through this too. It's just a smaller number of women. I know a woman personally that was placed on child support, and it wasn't because she wasn't a good mom, and it was not because she wasn't willing to take care of her kids financially. It was simply because she made a lot more than her ex-spouse, and he wanted to cash in on that. It goes both ways. Now, the stats that I wanted to mention to you guys today are, according to the Custodial Mothers and Fathers and their Child Support 2015 report released in February 2020, there were 13.6 million custodial single parents living in the United States. About half of them, 50.2%, have some type of legal or informal child support agreement in place. 87.9% of those child support agreements are formal agreements established in court through the Title 4D agency. 12.1% are informal child support agreements established between the two parents. It is also good to note that 52.7% of custodial single mothers were awarded child support in 2016, and 39.6% of custodial single fathers were awarded child support in the same year. Another thing that I wanted to mention, which talks about the debtor's prison, $33.7 million in child support owed during the year 2015. The average amount of child support due was $5,760 per year. That's less than $500 per month. And only 60% of that money, an average of $3,447 per year, were actually received. So when you look at the difference between the amount that is requested and the amount that is received, clearly there is some struggle in the midst of that in paying child support. You know, that's something that we kind of have to look at. Are we even being fair with the amount that we are allotting for parents to actually pay? And when I say fair, you know, people always boil it down to take care of the kids. You're obligated to take care of the kids. Well, you're obligated to take care of yourself too. But you can't support your kids if you can't support yourself, right? And if you are in a situation that's taking out a chunk of your money to where you can't support yourself, then the spin-off effect is you can't take care of your kids. It is important to look at the amount and how much you are paying towards child support and how much you're able to retain in order to take care of yourself. Another thing is, a lot of people do end up in jail because they've missed payments on child support, or, you know, they've accumulated a lot of back child support. I couldn't find any statistics to show how many people have actually been incarcerated because they've missed payments on child support. And there are so many people in jail for other infractions that is causing them to miss child support that is, it's really like a muddle of numbers in there. As of December 31st, 2017, there were approximately 1.49 million people in federal and state prison. More than 50% of those inmates have one or more child under the age of 18, leaving an estimated 2.7 million children with a parent incarcerated. In addition, a 2003 study estimated that 1/4 of inmates in prison had a child support case. Based on current prison populations, this suggests that approximately 400,000 inmates have a child support case. well, they're in jail, they can't pay it. We have to look at these discrepancies. We do. And we have to try to address them. Some states are not understanding the severity of outdated child support legislations. They're really trying their hardest to make the child support system more efficient, and they're trying their hardest to make it a little bit more flexible and fair. There has been a new federal rule on child support. On December 20, 2016, the Office of Child Support Enforcement, OCSE, published final rules updating the rules regarding the child support enforcement. One of these rules include incarceration for failure to pay child support, which is great. I think this is great in the sense that you're not going to end up with a misdemeanor or felony. But on the other hand, I still don't believe that people should be incarcerated for not paying child support. I just don't see the benefit of that or the fairness in that. Another rule that was implemented is to assist those incarcerated with a child support order. The rule ensures the right of all parents to seek a review of their order when their circumstances change. So this bill actually, it affects Georgia residents, and it is Georgia House Bill 310. The bill creates a diversion center for child support obligors who have been sentenced for contempt of court for failure to pay child support. The bill allows people in the diversion program to travel to and from his or her place of employment and to continue his or her occupation. And the bill also requires the obligor to remain in the diversion center for the duration of the sentence, with the exception of traveling to and from work. The bill also requires the obligor to pay alimony or child support as previously ordered, including arrears, allows the obligor to participate in educational or counseling programs offered at the diversion center. So something like this is absolutely beneficial, and it helps the person required to pay child support. And I think the entire United States need to look into options like these as programs. I also think that child support should be in alignment with and be budgeted according to what is needed, or the amount that is needed, to ensure that the non-custodial parent does not fall behind or does not end up in debt or is not able to take care of themselves or ends up homeless. If for some strange reason this month's check is a small amount and you can only pay $50, honestly, that should actually be allowed. With that flexible amount, you don't want the non-custodial parent to take advantage. Let me know what you think about this particular one. I'm always curious to know what you guys think. I love reading the comments. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed my video. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Yeah.